Hey there. So this is exactly the second YouTube video I've ever made. The first one was about the lazy and free home scale food forest, and it was kind of a wrap up to a blog series. You know, that website got hacked, and so that blog series is gone. The video is still around somewhere. I've got the old articles, so I need to write them up at some point again to kind of go through the principles of food forestry and all that stuff. And I've learned a lot of lessons. I've done a few for other people. I haven't done any for me. And so I wanted to get some shots of the before, and maybe as time goes by, I'll document a few of the things as I'm doing along the way and the reasoning and the why. So we've been in the house we're in now for just over a year. I've been on property, that's a year and a half, probably it's more fair that I've been in this house. But we've been on property for 6 years, and we've been running like mad, getting livestock going and set up and learning lots of lessons there about pigs and cattle and goats and all kinds of stuff. And so I'm finally back to a point where I can start playing a little bit and getting caught up. So what I've got here is just a whole bunch of little plants that we've got for cuttings and different things that I'll be using in the food forest as I set it up. And you see behind the house we have this little barbed wire fence that's been here for a long time, and then that's going to be extended a bit, so I'll kind of do a quick walkthrough on where it's going to go. This is fill for underneath the well house. We had a well house built a little too big, so I can use that like as a potting shelf or close it into the winter if I get some tropical tender stuff. But this will be the main way into the food forest once I get that set up. I've got a small garden area that we set up this past year that did pretty good for us, but it's coming to an end now, so we gotta end that. The Seminole pumpkins are still going. I'm not sure how that's possible, but they're still kicking. And then the last of our winter stuff that's still going. We got lots of collards I gotta put up and kales and that kind of thing. Nothing fancy, but give us some decent amount of food. Second batch of papayas are kicking, so we'll have more papaya than we can eat, I think, once I get going. So you can see where the fence was up here close to the garden area, and then we just extended it, so we went back a little bit. Got a few trees along the house, but they're like just, yard trees. There's star fruit, there's an avocado, there's some guava, there's a couple citrus, some plums, nothing crazy. So the garden extends back a bit here, comes to a kind of a tight corner, so I'll be pulling this other fence up and give myself some more room. I will probably extend the annual area, which is those little mounds I got over there. I got all of 4 mounds right now, but we'll probably do a bit more than that. So you can see there's a new barbed wire that runs through. Cool thing about this area that'll be fun to play with is I've got slope, and here I am in Central Florida, and everybody says that there's nothing but sand and it's dead flat, and there's not a crazy amount of slope, but I got slope. So I'll have some fun playing with different strategies and techniques. So here's the other side of where we'll come in to the garden. So I'll come in right by the well house, and then do some fun over here. So we had a very densely wooded area behind where I'm facing right now. Hurricane Irma came through and took care of some of those, and I have some pigs over there. They took care of others. And then there's this fungus. You see those ones on the ground, how they got like a white moldy looking fungus on it? Well, that thing spread through all the water oaks one by one and started taking them out. And so we had to drop a bunch of trees. So this area, the only thing left that's in here are these monkey's ear trees. That's all we got left that made the cut. So a lot of that oak that's laying on the ground from these, some of these were huge trees, so this was a real shady area. We got a bunch of weed species in transition, trying to figure out who's going to win the battle in the old oaks, and I'll try to use a lot of that. I set up some texture in different spots with some of the trees that were in the way. Kind of did a little bit of cleanup, but I haven't done anything really other than move stuff out of the way so I can kind of see what I'm working with. I tried to do the math but it's an odd shape. So at some point I'll get some real measurements and figure it out, but I don't think it's quite half an acre that I've got tucked away in here. But it's more than a third, you know. It's pretty decent. It's not a slouch of an area. It should be pretty good. Should be a lot of fun to play with. This big old stump I dropped here because it just looked like it would make a cool table, so I'll do something with that later. But I wanted to give a before. There's not much to look at right now other than relatively clean slate in permaculture terms. So there is a foot gate here, so that'll be another way to come in from the other side of the garden, or the food forest. So you can see I've got some cool options to work with. You know, Jeff Lawton said that the more restrictions on a design, the more eloquent it can be, or something like that. And I don't have a lot of restrictions right here, so it's really going to be a matter of just pick a spot and get started, and then that'll be my first restriction, is whatever I put on it, and it will evolve from there. So hopefully I get to share some good information here and there, and people learn something. I definitely know I'll be learning a whole lot, and I'll share the good and the bad, and the cheers and then the tears. So hope you enjoy the video, and those that may come. Have a good one.